Hey everybody! Today we're going to work on estimating and then adding some fractions. So before we start adding, we want to look at our fractions and see if we could maybe estimate these to be close to benchmark fractions or even whole numbers if possible. So when I look at this first fraction, 3 4/7, I'm going to keep my whole number of 3. And when I think 4/7, if that was 4/8, it would be half. So I'm going to say that this is like 3 1/2. So my estimate would be 3 1/2 plus, same thing with this one. I'm going to keep the 4 and then 4/7. If I had 4/8, I know that 4/8 is 1/2. So I'm going to say that that's 4 1/2. I add together my whole numbers. 3 plus 4 is 7, and 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1. 7 plus 1 is 8. So my answer should be something close to 8. Now when I actually add them together, I'm going to add my whole numbers, which I know is 7, and then I'm going to add my numerators. 4 plus 4 is 8. So I get 7 8/7. That's an improper fraction, so we should reduce it. I know that 7/7 is 1, so I'm going to give that 1 over here. That's 8, and it leaves me with 1/7 left over. Okay. All right, let's look at the second one. 6 3/4. That's almost 4/4, which would be another whole. So I'm going to say 6 plus one more whole would be 7. And plus a 6 would be 7 1/6. So it's less than 0. It's practically nothing. So I'm going to say 7 plus 0 is 7. This is a little less than 7. It's 6 3/4. So I know my answer is probably going to be just slightly less than 7. So 6 3/4 plus 1/6. These are not common denominators, so we have to make them a common denominator. So when I look at these two, I know that 4 can't go into 6 and 6 can't go into 4. So I'm looking for the least common multiple of the two of them. So let's write our multiples over here. Multiples of 4. 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 4 is 8, 3 times 4 is 12. Multiples of 6. 1 times 6 is 6, 2 times 6 is 12. Hey, they have that in common. I can use 12 as a denominator. So in order to get this to be a denominator of 12, I'm going to do 1/6 times what will equal a new fraction with 12. 6 times what is going to be 12. 6 times 2 is 12. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So 1 times 2 is 2. I have to do the same thing for 3/4. So 3/4 times what fraction will give me a new fraction with 12 as a denominator. 4 times what is 12? 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 3 is 9. So I'm adding together 9/12, 2/12, and my 6. I'm putting all of those pieces together. So 9 plus 2, that's 11/12. And my 6. 6 and 11/12. That's only 1/12 away from being 7. So my answer makes sense. For number 3, if we're estimating, 7/8. Well, if I were to have a pie and cut it into 8ths, and I gave away 7 pieces, that's almost giving away my whole pie. So I'm going to round that to my whole pie. Plus 1/6. Well, just like we knew here, That's barely anything. That's really close to 0. So I'm just going to leave it at 0. And 1 plus nothing is 1. Again, I don't have a common denominator. And I know that 8 can't go into 6 and 6 can't go into 8. So I'm going to look for a least common multiple. So let's do least common multiples for 8 and for 6. 1 times 8 is 8. 2 times 8 is 16. 3 times 8 is 24. 1 times 6 is 6. 2 times 6 is 12. 3 times 6 is 18. And 4 times 6 is 24. So I can see that 24 is the smallest multiple they have in common. So I'm going to make my new denominators be 24. So I'm going to ask myself, 7/8 is equivalent to what over 24? And 1/6 is equal to what over 24? 8 times what is 24? 8 times 1, 2, 3. So 7 times 3 is 21. That's like adding it right here. You're multiplying by 3. Okay? 6 times what is 24? 6 times 4 is 24. 1 times 4 is 4. So I'm adding together 21/4 plus 4 24ths. So 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. I get 25 24ths, which is improper, so we should reduce it. There are 24 24ths here. I can make a whole number with 1 24th left over. Okay, one more like this. And I'm going to have to write this answer is for this problem. So I'll have to write my estimate down here. Okay, 7 2/3. Well, I know that 2/3 is a little more than half, so I'm going to round this to 8. And then 2 3/5. So I'm going to round that to, that's a little more than half as well. So I'm going to say that this is about 2.5. So 8 plus 2.5, that's 9, 10.5. So my answer should be somewhere close to 10.5. I don't have a common denominator, so I can find a quick denominator by multiplying these two together, or I can do multiples. We've done multiples for the last few problems, so I'm just going to make a quick denominator, and I'm going to multiply 3 and 5, and I know that's 15. So I'm going to say that 2/3 is what over 15, and 3/5 is what over 15. 3 times what is 15? 3 times 5. So 2 times 5 is 10. 5 times what is 15? 5 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. And when I add 9 15ths and 10 15ths, I get 19 15ths. 19 15ths. And if I reduce that, I get 1 4/15. But I'm not done there. I can't forget that I had a 7 hanging out over here and a 2 that I have to go back and add together. So 7 plus 2 more, that's 8, 9, plus another whole number is 10. So this is really 10 4/15. I can't forget to go back and add these whole numbers that I kind of left hanging out over here when we started. Okay. For each number story, write a number model with an unknown. That means put in a letter and make an estimate. Then solve the story. Show your work, record your answer, and a summary number model. Use your estimate to check whether your answer makes sense. You won't be able to do all of this on your Go Formative, so we'll just do the best we can. Mr. Kumar's class ate 6 3/4 pizza, and Miss Reinhardt's class ate 4 2/4 pizzas. How many pizzas did the two classes eat? So I want to know the total number of pizzas. So I'm going to take this fraction and this fraction, and if I want the total pizzas, I'm putting them together, I'm adding. So my number model is 6 3/4 plus 4 2/4. And it said with an unknown. So I'm going to pick letter M. Then I'm going to estimate. So I'm going to round these the best I can. 6 3/4 pizzas. That's almost 7 pizzas. Plus 4 2/4. I know that 2/4 is a half. So I'm going to say plus 4 1/2. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They ate almost 11 1/2 pizzas. You could round this up to 5, so you could have 7 plus 5 and have 12. I would accept either one of those. They're both good estimates. Okay, then to solve our problem, we're going to work out our addition here. They're both fourths, so I don't have to find a common denominator. I can put my whole numbers together. 6 plus 4 is 10. 3 plus 2 is 5. I get 10 5/4. 5/4 is an improper fraction, so I want to reduce that, which equals 1 1/4. So I have 10 plus 1 1/4, which equals 11 1/4. So, how many pizzas did the two classes eat? They ate 11 1/4 of a pizza. And my summary number model, that's where I take my original number model and I add it in with my answer. So I had 6 3/4 plus 4 2/4. And now instead of putting this unknown, I'm going to put my actual answer, which was 11 1/4. Okay. Next on your Go Formative is page 162. And this is going to ask you to do some more problems that are very similar to these that we just did, except they're story problems. So that's more of this, having two fractions and putting them together. So try them on your own. If you need help, reach out and we can work through it together.